and welcome to Arirang's special live coverage of Tuesday's cabinet meeting. I'm Kim Dami in Seoul. We'll soon head over to the presidential office in Yongsan, where President Yoon Suk-yeol will preside over the meeting ahead of his one-year anniversary in office tomorrow. He's expected to reflect on the past year, particularly on the main events and achievements on the diplomatic front. President Yoon took office on May 10, 2022, and just 10 days later, he hosted U.S. President Joe Biden here in Seoul. The two leaders held their first summit in Yongsan. They issued joint statements reaffirming their mutual commitment to the defense of South Korea and securing a strategic economic and technology partnership. And last month, Yoon and Biden met again and held their second summit in Washington, D.C. during Yoon's week-long state visit there. That's when the two allies issued the Washington Declaration, an upgrade of the U.S. extended deterrence against threats from North Korea. Also in D.C., he became the first Korean leader to make an address to a joint session of Congress in nearly a decade. And that's not it. Also during the past year, President Yoon took bold moves to soften the long, thorny relations with Japan. The Yoon administration proposed a plan to compensate Korean victims of Japan's wartime forced labor through a Seoul-backed public foundation instead of having the Japanese firms involved compensate them. The leaders of Seoul and Tokyo then sat down for talks in each other's countries in the last 2 months, officially resuming face-to-face diplomacy between the neighbors. President Yoon's had a full-packed year in office on the diplomatic front. He also headed to Madrid last June, becoming the first Korean leader to attend the NATO summit, and then to the United Arab Emirates, where he and UAE counterpart vowed tighter cooperation on trade and energy. Again, in just a moment, we'll head over to the presidential office in Yongsan. President Yoon Suk-yeol is set to preside over the administration's 19th cabinet meeting, and today's meeting comes one day ahead of his one-year anniversary in office. He'll take today's meeting as an opportunity to look back on the past year, particularly how far South Korea has come, as well as its diplomatic achievements. Now, we will soon head over to the presidential office in Yongsan, where President Yoon Suk-yeol will preside over the meeting ahead of his one-year anniversary in office tomorrow. President Yoon is set to reflect on the past year, particularly on the main events and achievements on the diplomatic front. Now, exactly a year ago, President Yoon took office on May 10, 2022, and just 10 days later, President Yoon hosted U.S. President Joe Biden here in Seoul. The two leaders held their first summit at the new presidential office in Yongsan. That's where they issued joint statements on reaffirming their mutual commitment to the defense of South Korea, and they also secured a strategic economic and technology partnership. Soon, we will head over to the presidential office for the cabinet meeting. Let's take a listen.
Last Sunday, Prime Minister Kishida of Japan paid a bilateral visit to the Republic of Korea, making it the first Japanese PM's visit in 12 years. It took 12 years for Korea-Japan shuttle diplomacy to resume. That resumed on March 16 with my visit to Japan, but it took less than 2 months for the two leaders to visit each other. Prime Minister Kishida said his heart aches that the victims of forced labor had a difficult and sad experience in a harsh environment. If we treat our dark past with sincerity without turning a blind eye to it, we will be able to overcome the difficulties facing both Korea and Japan and open up a new future. At this Korea-Japan summit, in-depth discussions took place on ways to cooperate between the two countries in a wide range of fields, including economy, industry, science, culture, and people-to-people exchanges. Regarding the treatment of contaminated water of Fukushima, we decided to send an on-site inspection team composed of Korean experts. At the G7 summit next week, Prime Minister Kishida and I will pay respect at the memorial monument for the Korean Hiroshima atomic bomb victims.
불과 얼마 전까지만 해도
Just a short period ago, these things were unimaginable, and it is now taking place between the two countries.
한일 양국이
Korea and Japan, who share the values of liberal democracy, if we build trust while exchanging and cooperating with each other, bilateral relations will be able to pioneer a new future going beyond the best of its days in the past. I hope the related ministries will carefully monitor and make progress with the agreements made at the Korea-Japan Summit so that the results are palpable by our people.
다음 주에 있을
At the G summit next week, a trilateral summit among Korea, U.S. and Japan will be held. Following my state visit to the United States last week, we have strengthened the extended deterrence against North Korea with the Washington Declaration, and we can build solidarity and peace in the region through security cooperation among the three countries. Thinking back of 1 year ago when I took office, foreign affairs and national security is the field that has undergone the biggest change. After 11 days I took office, ROK-US Summit was held to build the ROK-US alliance substantially. In June of last year, I attended the NATO Summit, being the first Korean leader to do so. With countries that share universal values at NATO Summit, we discussed building solidarity of freedom and ways to cooperate on global security. And in addition, at the NATO Summit, we talked about, with many countries, and bilateral talks were held to strengthen cooperation in the fields of nuclear power, semiconductors, and supply chains, and we have made achievements in defense exports as well. Now the Republic of Korea's defense industry is moving forward with the goal of becoming one of the top four. In September last year, the New York Initiative was announced at the UN General Assembly, and establishing a new norm in the digital space, as well as suggesting measures to close the gap and digital divide and digital ODA. During the recent state visit to the U.S., in my Harvard speech, I have emphasized the need for solidarity and cooperation among free citizens of the world to prevent the abuse of digital technology that infringes freedom. Over the past year, I claimed to be the Korea's number one salesperson, and I have done sales diplomacy. In November last year, during the visit of Crown Prince bin Salman of Saudi Arabia to Korea, we signed 26 MOUs. And as the first result, in March of this year, we held a groundbreaking ceremony for S-Oil's Shaheen project worth of 9.3 trillion Korean won. And we have attracted strategic investments of US dollars 30 billion during my visit to UAE. It is expected that such large scale of investment will be a great help to our startups, ventures, and small and medium-sized enterprises. In the future, the economy will be at the core of my administration. And the security of Republic of Korea, which relies solely on North Korea's goodwill, will also be transformed, and we will strengthen our three-axis defense system. Also, the ROK joint military drill has been
재래식 군사력을
resumed
바탕으로 했던
that was suspended for
한미
past
상호
several
방위
years.
조약은
And the
핵
ROK
능력을
U.S. Mutual
기반으로
Defense
업그레이드
Treaty
되었습니다.
was upgraded to a
정상
nuclear
차원의 합의 문서인
capability
워싱턴 선언과
agreement.
핵 협의그룹
The Washington
창설을 통해
Declaration
미국은
and the
핵무기를
nuclear
포함한
consultative
전례
group
없는 수준으로 대한민국에 대한 방위를 약속하였고
promised the
대한민국은
U.S. to
이 핵 자산 운용에 관한
defend Republic of Korea
공동
to an
실행을 통해
unprecedented level,
확장
including nuclear
억제를
weapons.
한층 강화할
And
수 있게
the Republic
됐습니다.
of Korea has been able to further strengthen extended deterrence.
제1차, 2차 세계대전의 참상을 겪은
Over the past
국제사회는
70 years, the
지난
international
70년간
community,
주권,
which
평등,
suffered the horrors of the
영토
First and
보존,
Second World Wars,
분쟁의
has
평화적
established
해결이라는
order-based
규범에
norms
기반해서
of sovereign
질서를
equality and
구축하고
territorial integrity
자유평화 번영을
and peaceful
구현해
resolution of
왔습니다.
disputes, and has
우리
realized freedom,
대한민국
peace, and
헌법은
prosperity based on
정부와
that.
국민에게
Korea's
이러한
constitution
국제 규범도
stipulates that
국내
the government
법과 같이
and our people must
준수하도록
abide by these
규정하고
international
있습니다.
norms.
따라서 우리
And
정부는
therefore, my
분쟁의 군사적
administration
해결과 힘에
has
의한
been
현상
opposed
변경을
to the
반대해
military
왔습니다.
settlement of disputes
특히
and changing the
안보와
status
경제가
quo by
국제
force.
협력하에서
In
이루어지는
particular,
것인 만큼 국제
the
규범의
international norms are
준수와
very
그
important and
준수는
has
매우
to, and
중요합니다.
we have to comply with it. And security and
우리
economy
정부는
are
지난
carried out under
1년간
international
규범에
order as
입각한
well.
국제 질서를
Over the past year,
존중하고
the Korean government
국제사회에서
has respected the
우리의 경제
international
역량에
order
걸맞는
and has
책임과
fulfilled
기여를
its
다함으로써
responsibilities and
글로벌 질서의
contributions
중심으로
commensurate with
뛰어들었습니다.
our economic capabilities.
치열한 지정학적 경쟁과
Amid fierce
다층적
geopolitical
국제관계
competition
속에서
and multi-layered
우리 대한민국이
relations, the
세계
Republic
평화와
of Korea
번영의
will
허브
continue
역할을
to serve
수행해
as
나갈
a hub
것입니다.
for world
이렇게
peace
하는
and
것이
prosperity.
우리의 안보와
We
경제,
believe that this
기업과 국민
would
모두에게
benefit both
필요하고
businesses
유익한
and our
것임은
people,
더 말할 나위가 없습니다.
and it goes without saying that it
최근
sure
전세
is.
사기 그리고
Recently,
주식과
the
가상자산에
전세 fraud
관한 각종
and
금융
various
투자
investment
사기가
frauds
집단적
related to
피해를
stocks and virtual
야기하고
assets
있습니다.
are causing collective
특히
damage. In
서민과
particular,
청년 세대가
the
회복하기 어려운 피해를
common
입고
people and
절망하고
younger
있습니다.
generations are in despair
서민과 청년에
after
대한
suffering
사기
damages from
행각은
these frauds.
전형적인
Frauds
약자
against
대상
common people
범죄,
and young people is a typical crime
집값
against the
급등과
vulnerable.
시장 교란을 초래한
The
과거
anti-market and
정부의
abnormal policies
반시장적
of the past
비정상적
government
정책이
that caused soaring house
전세 사기의
prices
토양이
and market
되었습니다.
disturbances have
또
been the ground
증권
for such
합수단 해체로
전세 fraud.
상징되는
In addition,
금융시장
the
반칙 행위,
incapacity of
감시
monitoring
체계의
system for
무력화는
financial market
이러한 가상자산 범죄와
irregularities
금융투자 사기를
symbolized by the dissolution of
활개치게
securities
만들었습니다.
has made these virtual
힘에 의한
asset
평화가
crimes
아닌
and financial
적의
investment
선의에
fraud
기대는
to be
가짜
widespread.
평화와 마찬가지로
Just like fake peace that
범죄자의
relies
선의에
on the
기대는
goodwill of the enemy,
감시적발 시스템 무력화는
disabling
수많은
surveillance and
사회적
detection
약자를
systems that rely on
절망의
goodwill
늪으로 밀어 넣어버린 것입니다.
has pushed countless people,
건물과
underprivileged
제도를
people
무너뜨리는
into
데는
despair.
시간이 걸리지
It
않습니다.
takes no time to tear
순간입니다.
down buildings and
그러나
institutions. It just
무너진
takes a
것을
moment.
다시 세우는
But to
데는
rebuild what has
엄청난
been
시간과
destroyed
노력이 듭니다.
takes a lot of time
그리고
and effort.
정상적인 복원까지
And
수많은 선의의
until
피해자가
the
발생하고
normality is
이들의
restored, there are
고통은
countless
회복
victims
불가능한
with
것입니다.
good intentions, and their
과거
recovery
정부의 검찰개혁
is
과정에서
almost
마약
impossible.
조직과 유통에 관한
And
법 집행력이
the-
현격히 위축된
there-
결과가
As the result of the
어떠했는지
drastic
국민
contraction of law
여러분께서
enforcement
모두
power on
목격하셨습니다.
narcotics
우리 정부는
organizations
출범 후
and distribution of
마약,
it,
중요 마약
we have
범죄에
seen
대한 법 집행력을
how
회복하고
this is
검경
badly
합동수사본부를 설치하는 등
affecting
마약
the
청정
society.
국가를 만들기 위해
Since
노력해 왔습니다.
the inauguration of my
최선을 다할
administration,
것입니다.
we have
그러나
been doing our
무너진
utmost to
시스템을
restore the law
회복하고
enforcement powers
체감할 만한
to crack
성과를
down on
이루기에는
major drug
시간이
crimes.
필요합니다.
We are going to
거야
do our best,
입법에
and we have
가로막혀
been doing our
필요한
best. However,
제도를
it
정비하기
will take
어려웠던
time
점도
to recover
솔직히
a
있습니다.
broken system. However,
오는 5월
there were
16일
some difficulties
6년
that
만에
we were faced.
다시 민방위
faced
훈련을 재개합니다.
On May 16th,
그간
civil
가짜
defense
평화에 기댄
drill will be
안보관으로
held again
민방위
after
훈련이
6 years.
실시되지 않았습니다.
The civil
국민
defense
스스로를
training
지키는
or
민방위
drill has
훈련은
not been conducted
제대로 해본
for
것과
the last 6
그렇지
years.
않은 것은 실제 상황에서
Civil
국민
defense
자신의 안전을
drill to
확보하는 데
protect the people.
큰 차이가 있습니다. 반복적이고
And
실제적인
it is
훈련으로
very important we
실제
do
상황에
and
대처하는
conduct
민방위
this
훈련을
training to ensure the
세계 많은
safety
나라가
of the people
실전처럼
in real
실시하고
situations.
있습니다.
Many countries around the world are
정부는 지난
conducting
6년간의
civil
미
defense
실시를
drills.
감안해서
In the
먼저
view of the past 6
공공기관부터
years
훈련을
that
시작하고
this training had
다음
not
단계로
been
전
carried out, the
국민이
government
참여하는
will
훈련으로
first
정상화 수순을 밟기로
conduct with the
했습니다.
public institutions, and
실제
then the next
상황에서
step will be
국민의
with
안전을
the
지키기 위한 것인 만큼
citizens to
효과적으로
participate.
훈련할 수 있도록
I hope that the related
행안부 등
ministries, such as
관계부처는
Ministry of Public
세심하게
Administration and Security,
준비해
will
주기
carefully
바랍니다.
take care and progress
이후
so that people
의안
can be
시위는 비공개로 진행되어 오니
prepared for
언론인
real
여러분께서는
situations.
That was our live coverage of the 19th cabinet meeting presided over by President Yoon Suk-yeol ahead of his one-year anniversary in office tomorrow. If you missed it, you can catch the highlights at our later newscast at 12 p.m. Korea time. Until then, goodbye.